Alrighty, welcome to episode 248 of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. As usual, it's been a pretty busy news week. Tesla has announced the completion of the first robotaxi produced on its groundbreaking unboxed production line. This important milestone bodes well for a critical progression to the all-important start of production, which is expected to happen in April. And that was this week's news. Indeed it was, and once again, welcome to the program. Alrighty, as is customary, if there is anyone who is new and is comfortable in doing so, please unmute and say hello.
Technically not new, but hello. I just haven't been on this for a long while.
Welcome back, Michael. Alrighty, anyone else who is new, you can always say hello at any time. Alright, so getting to the significant news. So just to be clear, this is not the start of production, which Elon Musk has announced or continues to keep reiterating is going to occur in April. This is basically the first car that has gone down the constructed production line or multiple lines, because it's an unboxed process where lots of things are being done in parallel. So if you want a great explanation of what that really means, the difference between doing the first few production vehicles and actually the what is in the industry called a start of production, there's a Herbert Ong video. It's Brighter with Herbert. I think it must have been recorded about probably 18 hours ago, perhaps, and it features Jeff Lutz, and Jeff Lutz is obviously the goat of logistics, and he explains in detail that this is actually exactly what is expected, and that Tesla really is on time for a proper start of production, whereby they'll start making, tens of robotaxis a day, and then ramp up from there. But certainly a necessary and exciting start to the robotaxi program. The other thing too is just another bit of news, or just as a reminder. In fact, I'm pretty sure anyone who has got a hardware for Tesla, so that is a Juniper Model Y, the new Model Y, or a Highland Model 3, and some of the very later classic Model Ys. If you've got hardware for and you have not yet purchased FSD, then Tesla sent out an email a few days ago basically saying that anyone who wishes to buy FSD outright has got until the 31st of March this year. Also, some people, and a shout out to Russell Bell, who forwarded me an email, if you happen to have the halfway thing of Enhanced Autopilot, a similar email went out saying that you could also upgrade to FSD, and also you can, if you've already got FSD or Enhanced Autopilot, you can also transfer that to a brand new or inventory Tesla that you order and have delivered no later than the 31st of March. So, for example, if you had a Enhanced Autopilot from any vehicle, or FSD for that matter, you could transfer that to a subsequent vehicle as long as you bought that new car or inventory car before the 31st of March. And prior to the 31st of March, you could upgrade it to FSD from Enhanced Autopilot by simply clicking buy on your app. So, look, I'm certain there aren't that many people that really applies to. Just as a personal note, I've decided on one of the cars that I've got is to walk the talk, and I'm going to buy $10,100 of Tesla shares and do the experiment to see if in a few years' time that was a better move to do. Well, of course, by then it'll be far too late to undo it, but we'll see what happens. Alrighty, enough from me. Has anyone got any opening questions or comments?
One question there.
Yes,
Great
James.
experiment. I love your experiment. What are you arbitraging against, though? Like, what's the value for money?
Oh, so I am then going to monitor the FSD subscription cost
Yep.
and totalize that cost going forwards, probably for quite a while, probably until the Tesla price sort of shoots away, where it then became a no-brainer that it was a clearly better decision to make. But perhaps every few months I'll report back and go, this is the position, you know, $10,100 all in, and that's including brokerage and all that sort of stuff. And we got, there'll be a little bit of currency volatility, and we'll just see what the running total is. And just a fun experiment. Like I said, there's nothing, we can't then reach back in time and undo that experiment. I'm going to commit to it, and then we'll see how that goes and how it works
No,
out.
I was wondering if once full self-driving comes, if you can robo-taxi it or somehow earn money from it, how will you factor that into it? Like saying
Oh
2
no,
years
I'm not.
time.
No, so I'm not. No, so
Yeah.
this is one of my kids' cars.
Yeah.
I'm just it's it's funny, every kid is different.
Yeah.
We all state that we love them equally, but sometimes we love some more than others. But the one in question, he's fully old school, and he actually loves. He's one of those many Tesla owners you see on the roads that are manually driving, which is still inexplicable to me, but people do it. And so he's not going to miss FSD. Perhaps at a later stage, I might chuck it on as a subscription. Uh, and I guess what it should do is actually pay the subscription as well, at least notionally, and work out. Then I guess that means every few months you'd have to sell a Tesla share to pay the subscription. I might do that on paper, and reduce the holdings and just work out if it's every 3 or 4 months I've got to sell a Tesla share to pay for it for the next few months subscription, and we'll see how it goes. See if the shares outlast the subscription cost.
Yep. No, because I was also wondering about the lost opportunity if Tesla insurance comes to Perth in the next short times and you get reduced insurance, if you can robo-taxi your Tesla in a few years, those types of costs could be lost. If
Yes.
you
Yeah.
if you have 11% less accidents over those years, that's going to cost you. So I love your
Yeah.
experiment, but there's all those things intangibles
True.
that, yeah,
We could get
yeah,
deeply into the weeds and get an
yeah,
actuarial
yeah.
analysis of it, but we'd have to do that in hindsight because we just don't
Yeah.
know these numbers.
No.
And something that I've said often in the past is I think we're in a transition phase whereby perhaps FSD is going to become more valuable over
Yeah.
the medium term, but I think in the long term it's going to flatten out. And like I surmise, I think eventually it'll be actually a requirement of a new vehicle sale, to comply with ADRs, Australian Design Rules, will be to have effectively a form of FSD that takes control away from the driver, or at least overwhelmingly can take over should a driver do something silly or whatever. But yeah, we'll see what happens. Uh, Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
Yes, I have a question.
Michelle from
Yeah, here I
from
am in.
Walpole.
Oh, yeah, but I'm in queue now.
Oh,
Yeah, I
no,
tend to
it's
get
not.
on the
It
side
hasn't
of it.
been installed yet, Michelle. It's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, that being the Illumina unit that's gonna go. One of them's gonna go to queue,
Oh, I
and
don't care about the one in queue. I want the one in Payne's Fine. Yeah.
so if I check on PlugShare, I'm not sure if Payne's Find is on the coming soon. So there are
Oh,
a
I
few
thought it was.
icons.
With that
There are,
Illumina one, they were talking about putting it there.
yes. So I don't know who it is. I haven't spoken to Illumina for a while. So if you look on the map, if I can get this to work, um, so I think that's not Payne's Find. That's probably, yes, it is Payne's Find. It has
Yeah.
got a coming soon marker. Now, it's distinct from some other locations because, for example, there's Payne's Find, there's Kew, there's Karralundi,
And Coomarina.
there's
Oh,
Capricorn, and Oski. But Coomarina is not that notably not there at the moment for whatever reason. So yeah, look, Payne's Find is coming. I just don't know what soon means, to be honest. I I do know there was a plan to have charges in this month, but I just don't know where that plan is. The thing
yeah.
is, in a sense, they are kind of self-contained and um, can basically just be, just dropped off from the back of a high-ab truck. So the
Go off the
actual
back of the truck.
installation time is almost nothing. It's just a matter of the logistics of getting it
Yeah.
there and done. But no, sorry, Michelle, no idea. Um,
And that was not my major question. I've got bigger problems.
yep.
I have a flat tire and I'm in queue
Okay.
and I don't have anything.
Does Q have a
I
tire shop?
no. My next door neighbor, right? He's an old tire fitter who works for a contracting company here, who is happy to plug it for me, but I'm a bit concerned about the whole jacking up of the whole thing. I can get a new tire
Oh,
here if I need to.
okay. So is it just a tech screw?
It's a screw, yeah.
Yeah. Just get it. Just plug it, Michelle.
Plug
Just
it
plug
and
it.
go to Perth.
Um,
It's not, it's actually, I know I
no, no.
shouldn't say it out loud.
Just
It's in,
plug it because
yep.
I have, from my own personal experience, I have plugged oh, 5 tires at least,
Yeah.
and that every tire that I've plugged has lived. Sorry, that temporary plug has survived the remainder of the life of that tire,
Oh,
and
wow. I
that's
was
from a
gonna,
Model X. That's from my old Model Y. My current Model Y has one. My wife's Model Y has one.
yeah.
Her Model S had one, and they all lived. That one plug has. They all lived for the remainder of the life of the tire with no leaking whatsoever.
Okay.
Um,
It's actually in the sidewall.
yep, I'm going
Yeah.
to I'm going to show you something
But
that.
can I just ask you, Harold?
Yep,
Dennis wants to jack it up to do the plug.
yeah, jacking's no problem. So you know where
Not an
on the
issue?
not an issue. So don't be concerned about jacking up. Just be sure to show him where the jack point is,
Yeah.
and it's basically at the back of the. Is that? It's either side of the wheel arches on the inside of the front and rear wheel
Yeah.
arches.
Yeah.
And if you just put your finger in, you can. There's a little hole. Well, there's
Yeah.
not a little hole. It's probably about 3/4 of an inch, or say 20 mils in diameter. And
Yep.
that hole is a guide, sort of like a guide hole, and around that is the strengthened part of
Okay.
the door sills or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it.
I showed
And
him
that's
tonight. I showed
yep.
him tonight on my phone where they were, and he's confident. And it was, yeah, but we'd had a couple of beers by then, so we're
Oh
all
no, there's
about
nothing wrong with a couple of beers giving us some more confidence. But
yeah,
trust me, it'll be fine.
cool.
No, jacking is not a problem. He can take the wheel off if he wants, or just jack it up to make it a bit more convenient.
Yeah,
Pump it up a bit so you can get where the screw is, and it's
that's what
easy
he's
to sort
saying.
of, yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't have the photo handy this second. I'm just trying to look for it. But Shane Parker Shane has been comes on here sporadically.
Yeah, I've seen him.
He we did this on the Spirit of Tasmania ferry, leaving from Devonport going to Geelong, and we discovered that he had a cut in his sidewall, and we basically he plugged it. I said, look, let's do it now before the ferry gets locked up, and otherwise we'd end up in on the ferry in Geelong with a dead flat tire. Let's do it now before the ferry. It already left port, but it hadn't locked out all the drivers yet. So he plugged in 3 plugs, and as you know, the plug goes in and it sort of comes half out. So you've got the 2 legs sort of
Yeah.
poking outwards. So he called his a hexapus because it had 6 legs,
Yeah,
and
right.
he was towing a caravan, and let's call it plugged in Geelong, and he drove it all the way back to Perth, towing a caravan, and this is a Model 3 in the sidewall, and it was steady as a rock, no issues whatsoever.
Oh, cool. You've put my mind at ease once again. Thank you.
Yeah, don't I yeah, tire experts and tire shops will, well, let's couch it in that they take a very conservative approach to guarantee that there could never ever be any issues whatsoever ever. But you've got to bear in mind that they've got to think about a tyre that's going to go at its rated maximum speed, which is like 220 kilometres an hour
Yeah.
or higher. And let's face it, the highest speed we are allowed to do in Western Australia is 110.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be concerned, Michelle. It's perfectly it's an appropriate thing to do in the circumstance that you're in.
Thank you. It means I have to drive my old bloody Mazda Ute to work tomorrow.
Michelle, I've put a graphic in the chat. Harold, I'm not sure if you want to put it up for the rest of the viewers, but it's straight from the manual, shows you where the jack points are. So
Yeah.
you might want to try and save that and show that to your mate.
I showed it to him this afternoon on my phone.
Okay.
See,
Yeah.
is that the one with the green? It shows it's in green, lime
Yes.
Exactly the
Yeah.
one.
green. Yeah, I showed him that today, and he was like, "Oh yeah, no worries."
Just make sure he doesn't put it anywhere else apart from one of those 4 jack points, because you don't want to put it under the battery or in other places where it could be damaged.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's not likely to do that. Sorry, I don't know if that came up. Let's
No.
sort of try again. Here we go. Yeah, it's super easy to find. It's literally you just sort of put your finger in and you'll find it very quickly. And it'll be totally fine.
Yep. Okay, thank you. And I have to tell you, this guy, he's probably early 70s, right? Old school, very old school. Loves the Tesla. I let him drive it. I let him take it for a drive. Absolutely blew his mind, and he raves about it to everybody he's talking to now.
Yeah, and it's, to be honest, why wouldn't you? It's just, yeah, they're just the best things.
Yeah.
This myth that old people, you can't teach old dogs new tricks is just rubbish. Anyone that appreciates anything mechanical will love a Tesla, because it's the epitome of mechanical perfection. It really is. It's a great thing. Awesome. All right, James, you got your hand up.
There's a question in the chat from Cameron about a delay getting FSD on his brand new car. If you can read his first before you do that.
Oh, sorry.
And
So, question to Cameron, email from Tesla. No, not at all.
Yep.
Hey guys.
While you're reading that, I'd say to Michelle, you probably do want to get a new tire. Just be 100%. It'll be fine, but get a new tire because you're doing a lot of Ks.
That's what I was thinking. I
Yeah,
really
yeah.
should have one here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can even keep the plug one as a spare.
Yeah. Yeah. And because I don't think I've done that many Ks on it.
No.
Mind you, it's like 1,500 Ks every time I go home. So
Yeah, because our city slickers we can pull in anywhere and get it fixed, but you've got a bit further to go.
absolutely. And I've got RAC roadside assist and I've got bloody Tesla,
Mm.
and neither of them want anything to do with it.
No, they won't go too far.
Yeah.
I was at a tire shop and they offered a warranty and free replacement, but only go 50 Ks.
Yeah.
So you think, well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Yep. If I'm 50 Ks, I can pump it up and drive home.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Okay, so we got Cameron's got a new Model 3 Performance on Saturday with full FSD purchase. It won't be available for another 4 weeks. Okay, so I guess that means he's going to receive it in 4 weeks' time. Runs the standard FSD at the moment. I'm not quite sure what
Have you read the
that-
black message image?
I can't see it. Let's have a look. Let's just download it. Sorry, I'll just see if I can get it to come up. What's it say, James? The image.
It's a messenger image. Hi, Cameron. Due to the variances in firmware versions, the activation of full self-driving supervised on your Model 3 may be delayed up to 4 weeks.
Oh, sorry. Okay, right, cool. So Cameron, don't worry, you've got it. So you've got FSD. What sometimes happens is that the cars as they come from the Shanghai factory are installed with a newer version of firmware than the current cars in the current fleet that have FSD, which is version 13.2.9, I think, off the top of my head. So this actually happened to my wife's Juniper, the new Model Y, and to a few people, where even though those cars are hardware 4 cars, they weren't able to get a software update to get FSD because the version of software that's left the Shanghai factory has, let's just call it autopilot based FSD. So when it's enabled as so-called FSD, it's the old-fashioned autopilot based one. What will happen is Tesla have to effectively bring the entire fleet, or at least the ones in Australia that have the proper FSD software, they have to bring all of those cars up to date with the newer operating system, which is what your car already has. And that is going to take some weeks. But yeah, don't fret, you will definitely get it. Unfortunately, it's one of these little minor frustrations that in some sense, when you have a later feature that Tesla brings out, it necessitates being on older firmware. And if a car arrives with newer firmware, you've got to wait for the whole ecosystem to catch up. Now, I think you also mentioned, is it possible, running the mythical hardware 4.5, that's not at all certain functionally, I don't think there's any difference between hardware 4.5 and hardware 4 as far as the software that runs on it. And I know there's been talk, I don't know whether it's been ping-ponging, there was a hot rumor that hardware 4.5 was out and people were interested in what it was and should they delay a purchase. And for a while it appeared on Tesla's electronics parts catalog as saying it was hardware 4.5. But since then, Tesla
Matthew's just
removed
posted a picture.
those references. And I'm just
from
trying
the
to click
ISS
on
space station.
that picture. That was the, oh, hang on a sec. That's
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 what it
on the
looks like.
computer. Okay. So
It's marked on the inside so people can see it.
hardware
But you can
4.5. There you go. Okay. So there it says hardware 4.5. and it's even got AP45. So, so yes, it is. That is running hardware 4.5, but I think the thing to stress is it's not fully known what hardware 4.5 actually means. It's all but certain to be the same chips. So for a while, Tesla's autopilot computers, or AI computers, as they now call them, have two main processing units, and they are run in parallel with a fallback mode, so that if one fails, the other one just carries on. So they're not used. So they only really use one at a time, or they use them in parallel, but they only perform the power of one chip. It's just as likely to be a cost-saving thing whereby Tesla has rearranged some of the internal architecture to either save costs or make it slightly more efficient, or maybe wring out a little bit more power out of it for no real extra cost. But it's not like it's the hardware 5. So I don't think there's going to be any noticeable difference between a hardware 4 car and a hardware 4.5, because they'll all be running the same software. Like I said, the reason, in fact, if you can please just say what your software version is that's on your phone, on your Tesla app, because currently most cars are running 2025.46.5. So bearing in mind that's actually back to November last year. That's the software version we've got at the moment. I'm presuming, I'm presuming, Michael, that your car's got sorry, was it Michael or Cameron? No, it was Cameron. Sorry, Cameron, that your car's got 2026 dot something, which is much newer firmware.
No,
But in any
that's,
case, it's not
Cameron
going to
asked the
make.
question, but Michael posted the image.
Yes, but Michael, is that of your car or is that of someone else? Is that just off the internet?
That's just off the internet, but the
Oh, yeah.
differences are there's a slightly different housing around the front camera. You get the 16-inch screens, and there's probably more stuff about active camera cleaning, at least in some of the 4.5s. That's
Oh,
the
yeah,
main
okay. Okay, sorry, so I'll take that back. I thought that, sorry, okay, so just forget everything I
I
just
just
said a
quickly
little bit
used the
before. It's not confirmation that we have hardware 4.5 in Australia. So there's zero
you,
confirmation unless Cameron can be bothered to pull off a panel and have a interior panel and have a look.
I think if you look at your camera at the front, if the bottom of it is filled in, you know, the one in your windscreen, in a hardware 4, it's kind of gapped at the bottom, and that's where people get condensation issues. But if it's filled in at the bottom, that's a hardware 4.5, because that's part of the upgrade. Along with, I think, the 16-inch screens are hardware 4.5.
Well, the 16-inch screen is available on the Model Y Performance from Germany. So
I'm not
I'm not
100%
sure.
sure on that, but I'm pretty sure
Yeah.
about, you know, the bottom of the camera thing, which some people get condensation and stuff in, and they've sealed that off.
Yeah, so that's yeah. So Tesla, it's sort of like volatile. It's a condensate from volatile oils and other things that mist the windscreen, and of course it gets trapped in where that little camera section is because it's not sealed. Yes, I think Tesla are attempting to address it by better sealing it. Hopefully, there won't be any outgassing from the kind of felt material that's on the bottom part where the cameras are. But anyhow, I guess I'll sort of see how that goes. But yeah, okay. So at this stage, please, so forget any reference to hardware 4.5. There is zero confirmation that any car in Australia has got it. And like I said, in any case, even if cars start getting it, I mean, there's nothing we can do about it. There's no point it's not going to make any functional difference on the software that is run on a 4.5 slash 4. I think, for example, Model S's and X's that got upgraded from hardware 2, that upgrade was called a hardware 3.5, and yet it's effectively hardware 3, just in a different form. So, yeah. But Cameron, it's literally because your car perversely has a higher software version, and Teslas almost never downgrade. In fact, I don't even know if they can really downgrade software down to what to the current one. And sometimes there's a new software version because they have tweaked hardware elements. So famously on the Model X's, they have all sorts of different ultrasonic sensors, and every time they refit a sensor to replace an old one, they have to program the car to tell it what kind of components it's being now made of. So sometimes if Tesla tweaks something in the factory and changes certain components, like sub assemblies or electronics, they will incorporate that in a newer software release. So I think that's what happened to my wife's Model Y, which is the one with the larger battery pack. It ended up having a more recent software update or software version, which then delayed her enjoying FSD, the proper FSD. Alrighty. Any other questions or comments?
I did just post the CAN check without pulling your car apart. Go to the software, additional vehicle information. Look under autopilot computer, and it should list something like hardware 4 or A. So if any brand new Australian, but there has been no confirmation. It looks like it's only Fremont built cars that may
Yep.
have that.
Yep. And again, it doesn't necessarily mean that suddenly those cars are vastly superior. Sometimes they're just incremental improvements. What will no doubt be vastly superior is hardware 5. But what we do know is they will not come into consumer cars until well into next year, deep into next year. So, and we are only 1 or 2 or 3 software updates away from having FSD be 90% effective at what it does to well beyond 99. So none of us should lament that we have old-fashioned hardware 4 cars. They will absolutely be able to act as robotaxis officially, or be capable of acting as robotaxis. And just to close the loop, also long-suffering people with hardware 3 cars, one way or another, whether it's by a version 14 Lite that gets crushed down into the hardware 3 computers, or whether it's Tesla upgrading those computers to hardware 4 or something else, it will come. If you've already bought FSD, your car will be made capable of running it for free if you've already bought it. But if you're renting it, if you've got a subscription, that could still be quite a while away. Alrighty. Anything else?
Well, in the horrible thing of dominating, I noticed when you're on PlugShare, I was also in PlugShare at the same time doing some other planning. I do not see Payne's Fine. I put a screen capture in. What filters may you have that show that? So I'm live on PlugShare right now, and I have got
Oh, zoom
and
in,
I've zoomed out.
James.
Yeah, I've zoomed in.
Oh, you did zoom in because I see
Yeah.
there's a green pin. So I've only got
Yeah.
I only have. Yeah,
Oh no,
that's-
you are correct. It is absolutely 100% behind the green, like Nullarbor.
So when in doubt, yeah, please everyone, when you're on the
Yeah.
road, if you're on your phone, which is where you inevitably be, please zoom in, because sometimes So Lancelyn's an example. There's a supercharger in the WAV network. Nullarbor Roadhouse is another example. There's the NRMA DC charger and the crowd-funded Delta 22 kilowatt DC charger, and they're not quite on top of each other. But when you look at just a general map of Australia and you sort of zoom in slightly, for whatever reason, the default pin, the one that's on top, is the slower one, the 22 kilowatt charger. So yeah, please do zoom in. But yeah, that's your answer, James. And, I mean, it's a bit silly because actually, with the Plains Find, you can see in your screen capture that is an operating outlet, whereas the DC is coming soon. So I guess anything operating should have precedence over anything that's not operating. But also, it'd be good if they could prioritize the higher power outlets on top of a lower power outlet, especially when it's DC. But yeah, unfortunately, like I said, we just have no indication at the moment of when these Illumina chargers are going to be installed along the Great Northern Highway. Needless to say that as soon as there are a sufficient number of them installed, then TOCWA will organise or promote a Great Northern Highway tour, or at least say, hey, it's open, and let's go and try these chargers out. And I dare say every week that goes by that they haven't yet been installed means that the weather will get milder and milder as we go into autumn and then obviously winter. Alrighty. Anyone else? Got a tough crowd tonight. We could have an early night.
Could I ask then, has anyone found all the messaging from Tesla probably quite confusing about FSD purchases, and probably conflicting messages from Elon tweeting? I mean, I'm one of these people that you don't think there's many of that has EAP on a hardware 3 car, and I actually tried to upgrade it, and of course I found out I got it in writing that there was no upgrade path for that. So I mean, look, it's first world problem, because I went and then bought I've just bought a new one, and then a week later they send me an email saying, oh, you can upgrade your hardware 3 EAPs as part of an upgrade. But by this stage, I've already, after having a letter in writing from them saying there's no upgrade path for it, then they, a week or two later, send out a thing saying, oh, you can transfer it and upgrade it for $5,000.
Right. So Michael, so have you received that new car yet?
No, but I have obtained leasing and everything,
and when's it arriving?
When is it approved?
When is it arriving?
No idea. They haven't got a date.
Okay. So,
and I have paid for FSD on the new one.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, of course, because it's hardware 4. I would have done it on the hardware 3, but and I found out they actually closed out that option around October last year. They just didn't tell anyone, apparently.
Okay.
You couldn't provide.
Okay. So if you find out that the delivery is guaranteed to occur before the 31st of March, then what you can do is cancel the. You have to ring up one of the salespeople. Cancel the FSD purchase on your hardware 4 brand new car. That as long as you are going to receive it before the 31st of March, you can then transfer the enhanced autopilot from your old Model 3 to your new car, and then on the new car you can pay $5,000 and purchase FSD as an upgrade from the enhanced autopilot that you've transferred from your old car to your new car, on the presumption it arrived before the 31st of March.
Yeah.
And that'll save you $5,000.
I'm not grumbling.
No, I'm just saying that's the definitive. I'm just trying to say that's the definitive pathway. So if there's anyone in the room or watching that currently owns let's call it a hardware 3 car that either has FSD on it or it has enhanced autopilot, and you buy a car from Tesla, either a brand new one or one from inventory. Actually, I think that's basically the same thing. It's just that they're in inventory, and it arrives before the 31st of March, you can transfer enhanced autopilot or FSD onto the brand new car. And if it's FSD, that's it, end of story. And if it's enhanced autopilot before the 31st of March, you can then upgrade to buy for $5,000 FSD from enhanced autopilot. You definitely cannot for either ever, and certainly for the time being, like indefinitely, buy FSD or upgrade from enhanced autopilot anything after the 31st of March. And we've said this a few episodes ago. That's not to say that this is forever and ever, amen. Similar things have been said by Elon Musk and Tesla in the past, and they have relented. But I think the purchase path is one that's going to be a lot harder, easier for Tesla to say, no, this is it forever. I think in America there were they have some other bundle which is called a Lux pack or a something that cost extra, and part of that bearing in mind in the United States, in North America, the ability to buy FSD ended on Valentine's Day. So Australia is an outlier. Frustratingly, the self-proclaimed news guru, Sawyer Merritt, gleefully said, breaking whatever, Australia bucks the trend and you can still buy FSD in Australia. Well, that's been known for a few weeks now, but Australia is different. It's the 31st of March. And I think that is just because it's easier. We have longer lead times for deliveries, and it's a lot cleaner just to end things or have deadlines for the end of the quarter, because we know quite a few deliveries will be made naturally towards the end of the quarter. So just to ensure people don't miss out. But I guess it means, Michael, because you've currently already paid or committed to pay for FSD before it arrives, they will go by that contract because it's in your.
I'm sure I'll get it on the new car.
Yes.
And
yep.
more than I'm just asking about this. Like another example is Elon's tweeted that no cars would get autopilot, no Teslas would get autopilot, that only get a traffic-aware cruise control.
Yes.
If you really, really dig down, it's really hard to work out from the website. But I think
Yep, it's actually super easy, and I'll show you how to do that. 2 seconds. So what you do is you go to tesla.com, and we'll just say pick. Sorry, we just got to try and. This computer is super duper slow. Okay, so we'll pick a Model 3 and we'll go order now. This is the Australian website, and it doesn't matter which one you look at. So what you do is you go to the driveway price, you have a look, you click on that, and you go view breakdown. And what you can see, there is another breakdown.
It's really hard to find. And it was more, I'm just wondering, it's the level of communication I found so frustrating. Like, yeah. So that's just like, getting full autopilot. It is still on all of the Australian cars, even though we've had tweets saying they all stopped.
Show pricing details. It's this one here. It's at the bottom. Show pricing details. There you go. Autopilot included.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's just to back up there. You pick whichever model. You scroll all the way down to where it says view details, and that is where it is, autopilot. Now, in the States, what it says is traffic aware cruise control. So as long as you see autopilot included, and if you hit order with card, that autopilot is locked in on that order in any jurisdiction. So to be honest, I've been too lazy to look to see if Europe is the same or different to the States or Australia. But yeah, sadly, when Elon Musk tweets out most things about Tesla, he is by default referring to North America in general, and he doesn't. Many things that apply to North America don't apply to the rest of the world, at least not at the same time. An example of that was when Tesla deleted the ultrasonics on Model Ys, the classic Model Ys. That deletion didn't occur in Australia until quite a few months later. I think it might have been as many as 6 months later or something like that. It did eventually happen, but it wasn't in the same time frame as occurred in North America. So like I said, click on any model, scroll all the way to the bottom and go to full details or breakdown, and then you'll see autopilot included. And as soon as that disappears and you see traffic aware cruise control, then you'll know that autopilot is no longer included. But for the time being, as we speak now, it still is. And I dare say Tesla Australia are fairly savvy with marketing. I think they would take the opportunity to send emails out to existing owners to say, hey, included autopilot is ending at, say, the end of this quarter. Now is the best time to secure an order to guarantee it's included. So I think Tesla Australia and New Zealand would take that as a marketing opportunity to highlight that impending difference as a means of pulling forward some orders.
I hope you're right. I mean, they did not, to the best of my knowledge, ever notify us that if you had hardware 3 with enhanced autopilot, that they stopped the upgrade to FSD. I mean, I don't recall ever getting anything.
No, true. Yep.
I only found out when Elon tweeted his tweet, and then I went to do it, and it's like, oh, you can't do it anymore. We stopped that in October. So they made no mention of that at all. So Elon tweets out everything, and you don't know what to believe. And then Tesla Australia seems to do things without telling anyone. It's a minor gripe. I love the Teslas. Obviously, I wouldn't have got another one without it. But I just wonder how many people are sort of stuck with all this mixed, too much being said some places, not enough said in others.
Oh, look, unfortunately, there are a lot of YouTubers that purport themselves to be experts in Tesla, and a lot of things they say is just incorrect, or they're guessing, or they're repeating a rumor that someone said that they heard one salesperson in Tesla somewhere say. It's much better to get the word either from Tesla directly or from their website. So like I said, if in the purchase order agreement, and in fact, bearing in mind, if you bought this car, all of these items are listed in the invoice. So when you have an invoice for this amount of money and it says autopilot included, it doesn't matter how long it takes for that car to arrive, sort of, it's going to arrive in the next few weeks or a couple of months. Or in the case of the Model Y Performance, it might be as late as June, because they're saying deliveries between April and June or March and June, which is a very broad time frame. If it's in your order contract, that's what you'll get. Tesla are obliged to give that to you. So the same as Michael, now that you've actually pre-purchased FSD as part of your contract to buy the new car, it doesn't matter if it arrives in April or May for that matter. It will have FSD as an outright purchase because they're contracted to do that.
No, I ran around very rapidly because I thought I had to do it by February 14. ran around, did it, got the leasing approved, you name it. And then a week later, I get this email saying, oh, you could just upgrade. And it's like,
Yes.
oh. And I would also add just on delivery times. So my app still says delivery February to March, but Tesla actually rang me directly because they said, oh, do you want an inventory one? Because, and this is a long range all-wheel drive Model Y, not a performance. They said, oh, there's so much we don't think you'll get it till like April or May, which is completely different to what the app says. So now I have no idea. I mean, I'm still driving a Tesla while I'm waiting, but it's like messages. I have no idea when it's going to show up.
Don't take any notice of the website. Actually, the app, once you've ordered it, yeah, even that changes dramatically. It really does. It really, really does. The website takes zero attention, pay zero attention to it, because I've seen the website, let's just say it says February to May or something, or February to April or whatever. I've seen it pass to like the 1st or 2nd of March, and the website still says the previous month, and it's like, well, that's literally impossible. So the website doesn't update anywhere near as well as your app, or obviously word from Tesla, because from a Tesla salesperson, because they can look on the system and see whether your car's even been built yet. Bearing in mind, Tesla used to always build to order. So in fact, in the old days, you used to place an order. You had 2 weeks to think about it and change color, paint color, and any specs. This is the old Model S and X days. I think even the old Model 3s as well. And then basically, once the 2 weeks had elapsed, that the VIN was assigned and the order was firmed as the color decisions and trim decisions and all that sort of stuff were locked in stone, and the car started to be built. And it doesn't take that long to actually build. So that's what it used to be. Now a lot of it is they just build to stock, and they kind of match your order with just almost like a random allocation of what's been built that matches your trim level and all your decisions. Which means sometimes the delivery can be out by a fair bit, because the Shanghai plant might do a run of white cars with black interiors, and then red cars, and then whatever. And if you have a less common configuration that's less popular than others, that could make it to the next shipment, or it might not be produced in time to catch that next ship from Shanghai, which then invariably goes to Thailand, then goes to Singapore, gets unloaded. The cars have a holiday in Singapore for a week or two, and then get another transshipment from Singapore to here. Your particular car might miss that line of ships and get the next lot, and that might not be for another month or so afterwards. So it can really sort of change, but the Tesla salespeople will know exactly what's going on with your car. They can predict when it's due to arrive at port, and then it's a matter of plus or minus, well, it's between the next week or the next month that you'll get it after it arrives in port.
I mean, no, that's good to know that, because I've ordered I don't think very pretty glacial blue, but I couldn't justify $20,000 for the proper shade of blue on the performance. I love the blue.
Yes.
So it's probably a very unpopular color, which is probably why they were ringing me up to say, "You're really sure you don't want an inventory one?" But I'd already looked on the inventory, and they didn't really have the one that I wanted there. So I'm sure you're right. I'm sure it's months, but I just found it interesting. I think they had a real run of people ordering stuff anyway because of this FSD.
Yep. And good on you for sticking to your guns. As much as it, I mean, I think, and like you said, you're already driving a Tesla, so hey, you've already got an awesome car, so it's nowhere near as crushing as if you have to put up with an ICE car or something like that. But you know, it's really painful to have to wait for something, but in hindsight, you really are better off having waited that bit extra to get the color and the interior color and all that sort of stuff, the configuration that you actually want, because you'd hate to go in 6 months' time Yeah, it was great. I got my car a few weeks earlier than I otherwise could have. But gee, I really wish I had red instead of blue or black instead of white or whatever. It's much better to stick to your guns, um, because when you're looking back, you'll never regret the time it took. It's just you'll be happy with what you've got.
Just on
Oh,
the grounds of waiting for vehicles to be delivered, it's not just Tesla that's all over the place with it. A mate of mine was after a Land Cruiser to actually tow a caravan and needed a big thing. And the waiting time was ridiculous. It was 6 months, 9 months. So he was going to order it, found out it was 6 to 9 months, and his caravan was arriving in about 3 months. So he went to Land Rover dealer, and the Land Rover he could get in 3 months. So he ordered it from Land Rover. It took 9 months to come.
oh, yep.
So he missed out on the car he wanted to get, but a Land Rover instead, and waited as long, if not longer, for that to arrive because the just delivery was nothing like what they said it would be.
How many
And then that is a
times?
killer.
How many times have you been in a checkout queue where your queue is longer than the one next door, and you go, "Oh, look, I'll just go to that one," and then there's only one person at that one, and then just as you've swapped over and someone's gone behind where you used to be, that person goes, "Oh, price check at whatever checkout number,
Yeah.
whatever," and it's like, "Oh no." That's just Murphy's Law, isn't it? All day, every day.
It's your laws, you know it.
Indeed. Oh, and Mark, I owe you a phone call. So
Oh, what's that
I
for?
did get your for the email that you patiently sent so long ago that I just haven't
Oh,
gotten back
right.
to you
Yeah.
on. Um, but I'll give you a call. I hope actually, I'll give you my number. You give me a call. That's even better.
I've got your number already.
Oh, you
I'll
got
give you a
my,
call.
just give me a call
Yeah.
tomorrow, please.
Yeah, no problem.
Anytime. And then we can discuss your awesome lap. Which,
Yes.
yeah, don't worry about the floods. Well, I was joking
Oh, the
with
fires.
James a while ago. The water comes and it goes. The water rises and it falls down. Almost as fast as it rises, and unless every now and then it doesn't, and then it takes a bit longer.
Well,
But
as long as it holds off for the 5 days while I'm at Byron Bay Blues Festival.
I don't care about that. That's just that's all right. That doesn't matter if the roads get cut. Then yeah, that's right. You want nice sunshine and
I
mild
just don't
conditions.
want to be up to my knees in mud.
Oh well, maybe.
Hello, everyone.
Oh,
Speaking of emails, I sent the group, I suppose the secretary, an email a couple of weeks ago asking about the lone spare tire and charging cables. Are they
Oh,
still a thing?
so did you send that to secretary@tocqueville.org.au?
I think I did.
Oh, okay. That'd be Pete's one. Pete might have missed it.
Pete, what's your surname, or give me something in your email that I can, without doxing yourself on Zoom, that I can search.
Better still, Pete, just in the chat, just send to P's iPad so you can see Pete there ahead of the curve. Just send him a message with your stuff. In any case, sorry, so we might as well just sort this out now. So, Pete, what were you looking for? You said a spare tire and a cable, perhaps? Is that what it was?
Yeah, a spare wheel.
Spare wheel on a Model 3 or a Model Y?
Yep, a 2020
No.
Model 3.
Right. Yep. Okay. And when?
Standard range for the first 3 weeks in June, please.
Oh yeah. Don't worry. Just get back to us about say 2 weeks before. That'll be fine, and then we can tell you where to pick that up from. So that's fine.
Pete,
Yeah.
where are you located roughly? South or north of the river?
I'd say it's south of the river, a little place called Albany.
Oh, it goes without saying that no, as much as we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, we've got 4 TOCWA committee members, and we're all very much volunteers. we're not going to break our necks to hand deliver a tyre to Albany. I dare say you'll be
Oh,
driving up
you're
to
not?
Perth.
Oh, I'm
No,
disappointed.
sorry. We're just not going to do that to ourselves. Perhaps when we were younger, we might have. And James, you're not going to do that either.
Oh,
But
look,
yeah,
I
when you
was
come
saying
up, you
it
just
was
drive up.
volunteering.
The location is Malaga. They're kept in Malaga, and we'll get you the address details and all that sort of stuff closer to when you need to get them. And you're
Great.
saying for 3 weeks?
Yes, please.
Yep,
Yes.
yep, yep. No worries. They're skinny spares. They'll fit any kind of Model 3, and then we have a different skinny spare that fits any kind of Model Y. But
Ah,
yes, we have threes and
even
Ys
better.
generally in stock. Oh, and you said June, which is not the school holidays, so that's fine.
No, we very carefully planned it to squeeze in between school holidays. And I've got another couple of other questions.
Yes.
The first one is this weird little thing that our Model 3 is doing. And I don't think it was doing it before one of the recent software updates. But previously, my wife and I both drive the one car, and previously a driver could get in with their phone and it would recognize who the driver is as soon as you touch the brake pedal, and it adjusts the seat. But now it adjusts to the previous driver. So if my wife's just been driving it the last time it went out, I get in, and even though her phone's nowhere near the car and my phone has opened it, it adjusts to her seating position, and so I end up getting a big hug from the
Okay.
steering wheel.
So the simplest way to try and stop this is get one of your RFID cards. So that's the little black card. You got
Yep.
two of the car. Get one of those. Go into the car. Use it to delete both the phone keys. And then, if it's, say, in your case, hop in the car with the RFID tag, make sure your profile is selected, then add your phone as a key to the car and attach it to the profile. I think when you add the phone, it comes up with a message that says, do you want to attach this phone key to this profile, to the current profile? And you say yes. Then get your phone out of the way, or just turn off Bluetooth, and your wife could do this, or get her phone, or she can do it. Make sure that her profile is the current profile that's active. Again, using the RFID key, add her phone as a phone key while her profile is active. And when it says, do you want to attach this phone key to this current profile, say yes. That's the cleanest way. It's kind of the brute force way, but that's the cleanest way to make sure that there hasn't been some weird switching of keys to profiles, to active profiles. I unfortunately don't know of any other way of, for instance, altering the profile that is attached to a phone key. The cleanest way is just delete them, reinstall them.
Yep, that sounds
Give that a
good.
go.
Yep.
Give that a go.
Thanks.
Anything else? Any
Yeah,
other?
there was that's right. Has anyone in the group at the moment recently been across the Nullarbor or north in South Australia, like to Alice Springs?
Last time I did that was early last year, I think. Alice Springs, that is. Been across the Nullarbor. Last time was September. So you're interested? Oh, so you're going in June?
Yeah, Yeah, the Nullarbor section looks fine. There's just a couple of sections heading north from Port Augusta to the turnoff to Uluru that I'd be interested to get more feedback on. Because when I was booking our accommodation at Marla, which is one of the overnight stops, the guy there said they'd had quite a few EV drivers coming in a heightened state of anxiety because they hadn't waited long enough at their previous charging station, and they just estimated their usual consumption. But because of the headwinds, when you're heading north, he said the EVs were using a lot more juice than they were used to.
Yes. I mean, I don't know how long you've had your car for, or how many long trips you've been on. You, yeah, it's useful to be aware of prevailing wind conditions, and an easy app you can get is the Windy app, Windy. The icon, at least on an iPhone, is it's a red icon with like this sort of stylized, wavy sort of, I guess it's the wind. Another one you can use that's actually handy. It's more handy because of its mapping ability and showing you the status of all the roads. Is Bushfire.io. That works as an app and also a website, and it's useful because it shows the wind direction. It uses the Bureau of Meteorology's data to show wind direction. So it's not necessarily the strength. I mean, the strength does matter, but at a first level approximation, it's useful to know which direction the wind is going. If it's going in your direction, that's sort of slightly better. If it's going against you, that's not great. And a crosswind can sort of be in between, because sometimes crosswinds can reduce your efficiency. But basically, if you look at the trip, so you're going to Port Augusta and then up to Alice or to Uluru.
Yeah, just to Uluru.
Oh, right, okay. So the sad thing to note at the moment is the Nullarbor isn't quite as great as it might appear. Belladonna will probably be okay. Kaiguna is reduced rate of charge. Cocklebiddy's fine. That's a small delta fast DC charger. Majura Pass is useless in the sense that useless as a day charge, because the DC charge only produces between 11 and 9 kilowatts. Mundrabilla can be quite fraught, because there have been people that have said, as well, say on the 18th of January, no issue with the Type 2. Still a note on the main box asking not to use the DC charger. So the people that some of the managers, or one of the managers in particular, is quite hostile to EVs, or perhaps I should rephrase it, hostile to what the EVs are doing to their power generators or the EV charger. Border Village, in my experience, has been unreliable, but you have to look at PlugShare, and I think most people are saying they're generally getting, well, it depends, between 70 and say 28 kilowatts. The next one is Nullarbor Roadhouse. For me, I've found it nothing but diabolically unreliable, almost universally. But others have got different experience, and if you look at PlugShare, they're sort of saying you're getting roughly about 39, 40 kilowatts. So that's okay. Once you get past that, Yalata currently is not working. And then you've got Penong there's a 3-phase at the Penong Caravan Park, and that's great for overnight charging. and then
Yeah.
you've got Sejuna. Sejuna is the RAA fast DC charging network. After that, it's easy. You got Widner, Kimber, Port Augusta. You've got a supercharger, so you'd be mad not to use it. Then you've got Pimba. Definitely use that. Glen Dambo is a 30 kilowatt charger. So that's not super fast, but it's
We're overnighting there.
at Glen Dambo.
Yep.
Yeah, right, cool. You should definitely, I'd encourage you to get a full charge. Coober Pedy is a real risk area. I've been through Coober Pedy about 5 times, and more than half the time they've been profoundly vandalized. In fact, I think I've got a photo. Would have been a while ago. I think it was that one there. Yes, it's hard to see, but that is not a screen. That is the absence of a screen. So it was, and that was back in 2024. And quite a few times since then, it's been the same situation. In fact, that one there, oh, you can't see it. That was in September 2024. It's a real risk because it's subject to vandalism. If we have a look there, that one hasn't got a screen either. That was in December 2025. The screen's a real point of vulnerability because unfortunately the locals have taken a liking to vandalising it. So Coober Pedy's a DC charger. Then the next location is Marla. So Marla have Type 2, so that's fine. That's good if you can do that as an overnight stop because it'll take quite a while to charge.
That's what we're doing.
And then Colgara, that's not a bad spot. That's a caravan park. That's got a 3-phase outlet. That's not a bad location. But you can probably, if you've got a good charge at Marla, you'll be able to make it to El Dunda. And El Dunda has been nothing but pain and suffering. But at the moment, you'll get between 80 kilowatts and 4 kilowatts. So, however,
That's a good range.
yes, indeed. There is actually, we're not stuck, but if you can't get any joy out of it, there is a 3-phase at the Eldunda Roadhouse, which is rock solid. So, that is one location that's rock solid. And then I actually believe there's a fast DC charger at Uluru. So at Yulara. Sorry. And it's an NRMA one. Oh no, it's one of those. Oh God. Okay. So this one may
There's a couple at Yulara now.
yes, that's fast DC, or should I say DC, depending on, I don't know how fast it is. What have the comments said? 34 kilowatts. Great. We're expecting much more faster, but just getting 34 kilowatts, which is disgusting because the NRMA has been given was it $39 million funding from the federal government to do a national highway of 117 locations. And it's supposed to be 80 kilowatts, but obviously clearly you get between 80 and less than half that. But there are other locations around Yulara where you can charge on AC, depending on where you're staying. So, and then of course the return trip is just the reverse of what we did.
What do you think are the odds of some of those dodgy ones on the Nullarbor being repaired by June?
0.
Oh.
Sadly, they are part of the Horizon Power portion of the WAV network.
Right.
And it's safe to say that they did something that I know that the Queensland government did in places where they basically installed a fast DC charger, planted a flag, declared victory, and walked off.
Right.
And that's something that I've been quoted as saying is not acceptable quite a few years ago, before the WAV network was installed. And it's something that I actually was really confident that would not occur with the WAV network. Unfortunately, the Horizon Power parts of that, which is everything that's not part of the Southwest Interconnected system, Horizon Power have all but installed a charger, planted a flag, declared victory, and walked off. And it's sad to say, but it's what it is. So I would treat the Nullarbor as a bit of a pioneering effort. What you should do is don't go past a working charger and just fill up at each location.
Yep.
So in other words, top up. So normally if you want to do a very efficient road trip, it's good to exercise the bottom end of your battery pack, and not charge beyond, say, 80%, because your charge rate starts to slow down. Although having said that, with the 50 kilowatt chargers, you can charge up all the way to 90%. Well, depending on what car you've got, say between 70 and 90, nearly 90, and you can still maintain a high rate of charge. But the best tactic is, in an area where there are sort of dodgy chargers, do look at PlugShare every day to see the comments, the latest comments, and also look back at a few older comments just to get a bit of a pattern or to get the history of the site. Then also actively look at ChargeFox, at the ChargeFox app, because all of these chargers are accessible via ChargeFox.
Yeah.
Although you'll get a better price for a couple of the NRMA chargers if you use their app directly, although it's painful to use, like really painful. For example, if you look at a location, if you've used a previous location, you've got to sort of get out of the app. Otherwise, it sort of sticks at that old location, and you've got to plug the car in first, but have the app ready to go, because if you plug the car in and you faff around with the app, if you don't tell it to start charging soon enough, it'll time out, and then you'll have to sort of start the process again. Whereas with ChargeFox, it's a little bit easier, although it costs you about an extra 10 or 15 cents per kilowatt hour, I think, roughly. So it is worth faffing around with the NRMA app if you can get it going. I'm not sure if the Nullarbor is still free or not, but you can see the comments on PlugShare in any case. But do try and look at the live status while you're on the road, so that you can see whether you're going to have a good or bad day, and that might change your strategy. If it looks like if it's active and you rather than having to charge at 100% everywhere, you can sort of afford to charge at a slightly lower rate and save a bit of time. But I mean, it sounds like you've got very modest day totals that you're trying to achieve.
Yep.
In which case, it's fine. Almost every location has got an alternative AC supply, so you can just charge on AC instead. And look, when it comes closer to the time, if you take note of the number 62623131, that's TOCWA's helpline, and you can just give us a buzz anytime when you're on the road. The other thing too is, I don't know if you know about Starlink, or if you've got any friends that might have a Starlink dish or something like that. That's super convenient to use on the road. The most convenient format for that, and sorry, Mike, I'll get to you shortly, is the Starlink Mini dish. And with that, you can just sit it on your dashboard. In fact, I just get like a little strip of double-sided tape, clear tape from Bunnings, just put it on the top of the touchscreen, and then just lower the landscape, the long edge of the dish just onto it, and then the other side of the dish just sits on the dash.
Mhm.
And if you've got I know if you've got a Juniper Model Y, so the new Model Y, I'm not sure about the Highland Model 3, if anyone can jump in and just say yes or no. That has
2020.
Oh, sorry. Okay. In that case, you can go to look, if you've got a Starlink mini dish, the best way to power it is go to amazon.com.au or just Google Starlink mini dish 3-way power supply or power lead,
Mhm.
and it has a 12-volt cigarette lighter plug, a USB-C plug, and a Starlink power supply plug on one end, and the standard Starlink plug on the other. And it comes in different lengths, costs less than $50. And in your old Model 3, you can just put it into the 12-volt power outlet and run the Starlink Mini on that. And with that, if you use Wi-Fi calling, you've got phone coverage effectively everywhere, or internet coverage and voice calling everywhere in Australia. And in fact, if you're taking the holidays with you internationally, you can use it in countries that have Starlink for up to at least a month, if not, I think in some cases, 2 months at no additional cost.
Where's the 12-volt plug in my Model 3?
It's in the center console somewhere.
Oh.
If anyone's got a Model 3. Mike, you've got your hand up. You can jump in. Model 3 12-volt outlet.
A good question, actually. I was looking for it the other day and I couldn't find it.
It's in the back. It's under your armrest. If it's a 2020, it's under your armrest. And then if you look, if you look
around the back.
Yeah, so
No.
you know how you can lift up the armrest section?
Yep.
So it's on the wall that is towards the front of the car. It's sort of underneath the lip.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I didn't have a mirror to look under there the other day. I was feeling my hand. I could feel bumps and protrusions and stuff. So I couldn't confirm there was anything there. I think it's got a cover. I'm not sure.
Yes, it
'Cause I couldn't
does.
poke my finger into a hole, which is why I didn't know it was there. So you probably need a little bit of a mirror just so you can see under there.
Yeah, and apologies to the person that bought my second-hand old Model Y. In one of the frustrating times when I cut my hand trying to deal with the flap, let's just say I ensured that the flap departed the vehicle
Right.
without reverse assembling it.
Thanks, Harold.
No worries. But like I said, closer to the time or during the trip, just give us a buzz. And the thing too is when you're on a long road trip, so you mentioned that the person at Marla was saying some people were stressed because they were, stressing about not being able to make it. Regardless of what happens, the one fundamental thing of long EV road trips is if you are a little bit short on energy because you've made a miscalculation or circumstances have changed, you can gain a lot of range with whatever's left in the battery pack by simply slowing down if really necessary. So there's a huge difference between traveling at 110 k's an hour and say 90 k's an hour.
Yep.
That makes a big
What
difference.
is feelings about tailgating semis?
Tailgating is dangerous, but there is nothing dangerous about following a semi-trailer at a safe distance.
Yep.
And that gains a lot. What you also will gain is quite a few stone chips, and you might gain a couple in your windscreen. My tactic with that is when I've done a few laps of Australia, and I usually keep the windscreen for a few laps because if I'm going to get 1 or 2 stones, I'm surely going to get another 1 or 2 on the next lap and the one after that. So I usually wait till there's a quorum of them and then swap out the windscreen. But yeah, absolutely. Or if you can find a friendly caravan, which are usually the bane of many motorists' existence, but you will get a lot of efficiency out of something like that, following at a safe distance. However, if you're in an area where there are fast DC chargers, don't punish yourself by trying to wring out all this extra efficiency,
Shouldn't
because
need to,
in a couple of minutes you will gain on a DC charger all of the energy that you saved punishing yourself for the last 2 hours following behind a really slow vehicle. So when there is fast DC charging and when it's reliable, just use it. But if you find yourself in a unexpected situation whereby you're not running as efficiently as you thought, or you just made an error, sometimes people, the other thing too is, don't rely on the kilometers that your car says on the energy gauge, where it says the battery, it's not the percentage or distance. If your battery meter says 250 kilometers and you've got 250 kilometers to drive, you don't stop charging until you've got at least 350 kilometers, because you'll notice this when you drive around suburbia, that you'll get substantially better efficiency driving around town than on a chip seal highway at highway speeds. So don't get caught in, sometimes you can make that mental thing of, oh yeah, it's only 200 kilometers. My car says 200, so I'll go. Because then you'll have to find yourself having to average about 80 k's an hour to make it, if not less. But again, if you get caught for whatever reason, if you slow down, you can then put some credit in the bank, and you can always spend it later. If you find, well, I've actually got 50 k's to go and I've only 50 k's left and I've only got 10 k's to go or 20 k's to go, then you can speed back up to the speed limit and carry on.
Pete, in addition to a Starlink terminal, which is a no-brainer, you could consider, obviously take with you some emergency water supply if you're going into those remote regions, but also a CB radio could be quite handy. So I know some of the caravanners use them, most of the truckies use them, and if you do need to try and stretch out your range by following a truck or a caravan, it makes a big difference just getting on the CB radio and explaining what you're doing to the car in front of you. The other thing I would also suggest is, and this is a rule of thumb that I've actually learned from Harold. So if you drive at 100 kilometers an hour as opposed to 110 kilometers an hour, you'll save about 14% of your remaining range. And if you drop another 10 kilometers down to 90 kilometers an hour, you'll gain over 30%, almost a third of your remaining range. So rather than getting there with 100 kilometers, you'll get there with 133. So obviously how aggressive you're on both the accelerator and the brake. So your car in the top right-hand corner of the screen has got a bar, you've probably noticed, and it changes between black and green. So if it goes down below the mid-mark in green, it means you're regenerating power, putting it back into the battery. If it's in black, you're obviously using it. So the closer you can stay to that mid-mark, so either not regenerating too hard or not accelerating too hard, the more range you'll get. And the slower you drive, on average, the more range you'll get. So, if you do get into an emergency situation where the charger you were hoping to use wasn't available, that's one way to stretch your range to get to the next charger. But one of the other ABCs, so one of them is, adjust battery consumption, which is lowering your speed limit if you need to. The other one is to always have a plan B and possibly a plan C if available. So if the charger you're planning to use is occupied or offline or not available, that you have enough range to get to the next one, especially in those remote regions.
Yep.
And something to note too, if you're with, which carrier you're with, Telstra or Optus?
Telstra.
Okay. So one thing that makes a Starlink dish convenient, but not as essential as it otherwise would have been about even as little as, say, a year ago, is when you are out of Telstra range, network coverage, your phone, providing you've got a full Telstra account or like a standard one, your phone will actually come up with Starlink. It either says Telstra Starlink on one side and it says SAT on the other side on the top part of your phone, and you'll be able to send and receive text messages via Starlink's direct to handset service. And I think that's also, if it hasn't already been introduced with Optus, it is coming to Optus. But I definitely know it works with Telstra. It only comes on, the indication only comes on when you are not in a mobile phone network area. So you can then send and receive text messages. You can't ring, but you can send text messages, which can be useful.
Harold, he'll still need to be have, in front of an open sky, correct?
No, I've done it in my car with my phone sort of pointing towards the windscreen, like on the phone cradle. But obviously, if push comes to shove, you just hop out of your car. In fact, there's a very good chance that if there's an issue that you need to contact someone in the middle of nowhere, it'll be because of an issue with the car or something. Then, yeah, by all means, hop out of the car. It does work better when you're out of the car. But that is a tremendous safety feature as part of the Muskonomy, that you can send and receive text messages anywhere in Australia that's not in mobile coverage area. Particularly, and I know that for sure with Telstra, and I know Optus had committed to the same thing. I'm just not sure if it's been implemented yet or not. But in any case, you're with Telstra, Pete, so you'll be good if you don't get round to getting a Starlink dish.
Pretty much any phone will send a text, especially at night. They will always get through at night, whether you've got this or not. We found that at night time, especially, no matter what range or position you're in, you can get a text out.
Also, consider taking a tyre repair kit with you.
Yeah.
So the spare wheel is definitely handy, but a tyre repair kit could help you out as well.
And since we're on tyres, one thing I learnt from experience at, I don't know, it was 11:30 at night, or was it quarter to midnight, 150 kilometres south of Alice Springs, was getting a catastrophic flat whereby the tyre deflated in less than 2 seconds because it completely failed. Because it was worn down past the belts. Was get yourself a block of wood that's about the height of the jack. So, actually a bit less than it. Let me think. Yeah, that's about the height of the jack, and it's in this skinny spare kit. The jack is it's one of those caravan scissor jacks. So it's I don't know, it's about 100 millimeters tops, something like that. Because what'll happen is if you are changing a flat tire, this was in my Performance Model Y, I could not get the jack. What happened was that the the flat tire was on the passenger side. So what I did was deliberately take the car to the wrong side of the road, put the driver's side wheels on the shoulder, and left the passenger wheels on the bitumen so I could then jack the car off the bitumen, because trying to jack it on the soft shoulder would be pointless and dangerous. So I couldn't get the jack under the jacking point for the rear to jack the rear tire. So I actually had 2 jacks, so it was actually quite easy. I just jacked the front and then only by a little bit, and that also lifts up the back. In fact, it doesn't matter which end of the car you jack. If you jack it up high enough, the whole side of the car will lift up because the cars are so stiff. So what you do if you've only got 1 jack is, if you've got a block of wood that's approximately the height of the jack, what you can do is jack up the other end, which has a intact tire, jack it up until you can fit this. Actually, the block has to be slightly taller than the jack, sorry. Jack it up until the end that you want to place the jack is high enough to put the block of wood in. You put it next to the jacking point, right next door, then lower the jack, slide it in next to the block of wood, and then keep jacking. And then you'll be good to go. But it's just something I never thought of, and I only, because previously every other time I'd jacked a Tesla wheel was because it had a slow leak or something, and I just wanted, or I did a, tire rotation. And I didn't realize that if the tire is completely flat, the car is a lot lower than you expect. So just another little pro tip there, Pete, for your trip. But like Pete Petrosky said, do bring along a tire repair kit, because in most cases, if you've just got a pesky, and also bring an air compressor. If you've just got a pesky nail or a tech screw, which is pretty common, you can often plug the tire with the tire on the car. You just move it to you just like find where the hiss is, keep driving until you find the spot where it's kind of at a handy location for the rear, or the front's even easier because you can turn the wheels to expose the most of the tread, and then you can plug it in situ and then use your compressor to pump it up. And then you don't have to go the faffing around of actually changing the tire, which can be annoying or just hot and inconvenient.
Also, some of the tire repair kits don't come with pliers. So if your tire repair kit doesn't have one, take a set of pliers with you, because you'll need something to get the tech screw out or whatever it is that you've driven over. And also the tire repair kits, there's different types. Usually the 4-wheel drive ones or the heavy duty ones are a little bit better because they've got a thicker handle, and to ream that reamer through and make the hole big enough, it takes a bit of strength. And if it's just one of those really cheap, tiny little ones, it digs into the palm of your hand.
Alrighty. Mike, you've had your hand up, and then James.
Okay, thanks, guys. Hey, Pete, just and Harold, at your comment, potentially going back to the issue in the Model 3s, for some reason I picked up this issue where it appears to be holding the last person's key in memory as opposed to who's approached it, which it wasn't doing previously. Now, I had some sort of issue a few months after I got this 2022 Model 3, and I did the nuclear option, I think you called it, a couple of weeks ago, or the complete wipe, and that worked. But I had it again recently, and I don't know what they're called, but I think it's in the locks display screen. You've got all your different keys in there, and there's a little symbol of like the shoulder and the head of a person, a little black symbol. And I found that repressing those and reconfirming those helps for a little while. And I hadn't heard you mention that before. So that might be the pre-nuclear option, shall we say, to try that. I don't know if that makes sense, Pete. That may or whether you've tried that.
So, Mike, does that allow you to change? Can you change the profile that's attached to that key,
I
pressing
think
that?
you can. So when you press that, it goes saved and words. So whatever profile's on, if you allocate somebody's key, it goes saved by pressing that little person shape.
Right.
So again, I haven't fully investigated, and like you do, you just mess around till it works. So,
Then you proceed to forget because you googled 50 different web pages with 100
well, I
different
always actually
suggestions.
go to the manual, and so I always try and refer to the manual. But those little person sheet, it doesn't quite give the right description that I'm looking for. So you could try that before you go through the process of deallocating your phone keys and reallocating them again.
Yeah, good. That's a good one. Very good.
But so I'm not sure. So again, like all things, your mileage may vary. And I think today, well, no, it was difficult because we both approached the car at the same time today to do our Wednesday shopping. And so whilst I was waking the car up to disconnect the charge cable, the missus was stood next to it. And so when I got in the car, it was on her profile instead of mine. Because I hadn't actually, when I disconnect the cable, I'm not opening up the wing mirrors. I'm just making it awake. So I've not opened the car per se. So there's this, it's come from sleep, but it's still idle, if that makes sense.
Yep.
You probably know this,
Yep.
Harold, better than I do. So I think it just patched into her, but she wasn't the last driver, but she'd approached it first. So just try that little person trick, maybe. So you've got to go. So like if I've got mine on, I can select my wife's key next to it and it will go saved on mine. I'm going, oh, that's interesting.
Which has then saved your profile to her key effectively. It's attached to the
The other way
current
round,
profile.
her key to my profile.
Oh, okay. Yes, that's correct. Yeah, her key to your profile, which means if she activates the car with her key, it'll throw up your profile. But I presume your profile can have several keys attached to it. Probably.
Yes, so we have, because we've got the, well, I think everybody does, don't they? Because you've got your main key, your flat key, should we call it?
Yep.
And then you've got your phone key. So you've always got two, I guess, unless you're crazy.
Yep.
Got to have your emergency spare in your wallet.
Yes.
And my wife always, because she's got one of these sacks for a handbag, she's always got stuff in there that sometimes restrict the phone's view of the car, and then she can't get in.
Yes. And if it's an iPhone, then they don't always work as great phone keys if the home screen isn't lit or open or active.
I've had no problem with mine. I've got a 13
okay.
mini. She's got a 12. I've had no problem whatsoever with mine. It always sees it. As I say, she's got all sorts of stuff in there. Who knows?
Yep.
One of those TARDISes on the inside, and sometimes she has it round her back as well, plus something else. So it just can't get through.
Yep.
So that was that comment. I did notice just a small thing. I was listening to a chap on YouTube, an Aussie guy. He did a review of the new long range Model 3, which we call it the extra long range. It's now 750. So he did a test in Sydney, I think. So he charged it up to 100, and then down to 0 to see how much you get. And he did, a bit of freeway and a bit around town and a bit of this, that, and the other. It wasn't too bad. I think he got 600 and a bit out of it, which is not bad. Obviously, he wasn't aiming for anything special. But because I've been tossing up trying to decide with the full self-driving shut-off coming, whether to plump for a new long-range 3 for my fishing trips. But I looked up, and perhaps you can confirm me if I'm wrong, I can potentially get to Albany, in one trip. So charge up here and then get to Albany in one trip.
Yep.
But I can't get to Yalling up and back like I used to, because it's about 650 or 60 to Yalling up and back. So I think I'll still be charging up at Busselton.
Yeah, so the
We've been through this before, Harold. So,
yeah, if you're on, if like, I mean, geez, I would love just to jump in one of those in the long range Model 3 and do a hot lap, because I know I could do a very hot lap in something like that, because I could just skip through so many charges. It's just not funny, especially the slower ones. But on the presumption that the vast majority of your trips will traverse fast DC charges, and in fact reliable fast DC charges, except for if it's a very long trip, it makes no difference what range, to a certain extent, what range your car has, because it all gets down to how much is it consuming per kilometre. Like once you've emptied the first battery, after that it's always refilling. And when you're refilling at a fast DC charger, the filling time is immaterial. So it then gets down to cost. But in there are some cases, like if you're living like on a farm or something, and you go, I just want to blat it non-stop from A to B. And if that long range car does that for you, then that's a killer app. Bearing in mind that to get the extra range, you've got to charge it to 100%, when the battery ought to be charged on a daily basis no higher than 80%.
Yeah. You wouldn't
because it's the different chemistry. So one trap that people may feel some disappointment later on is they'll presume that 750, or let's call it 600 practical, and actually 600 is pretty good, but that's very good, that you're going to get that all day, every day. The thing is, well, you sort of can do that, but then you're going to add to the degradation of the car, and you're going to use it. You're going to start getting messages on the charge screen that says it's not great for this car to be continually charged to 100%. We suggest that you reduce that level to 80. So what can often happen, particularly with the, let's call it the standard long range, so let's call it the old long range version and the standard range version, is as a daily driver, if you use it in the way it's intended, which is on the standard range, you can charge it to 100%. And on the longer range, you ought to charge at 80%. There's actually almost no difference between those two numbers on a daily basis, albeit on a road trip. If you're diligent, wake up in the morning, you've had it on a long range car at 80%, you then put the slider up to 100%, and in the next hour, it'll go from 80 to 100%. Then you've got the extra range that's useful. So, but if you are surrounded by superchargers or fast DC chargers, it really makes no difference. Because, for example, you say you could go to Albany non-stop, which is true, but you could save yourself $15,000 in car cost and spend 10 minutes at the Williams Woolshed, which you were probably going to stop at anyway to get a coffee and a scone or whatever, comfort stop, and in less than 10 minutes do much more than gain the extra range that you would have otherwise paid another $15,000 for. So it's kind of...
all of that's true, Harold, but it's all about specific use cases. So in my
exactly, and that's exactly right. So just as a bit of a...
I'd rather have the 15 minutes in bed before I set off, and and be on the rocks or beach or whatever fishing, rather than sitting at the charger, because I take and I'm trying to minimize all costs. So if I can charge up at home and all that sort of stuff, and then just one charge down in the country during daytime, that sort of stuff. So that's my thought process. But because if I do a bit of driving, sometimes the fish are hard to find around Cape Naturalist, so you do a bit of extra driving down there. So in those cases, in my old Mazda 6, I used to have to, in the Dunsborough Shell there or whatever it is these days, I used to have to put the minimum amount in to get back home again. So it'll be a similar thing that probably the Bosselton charger for me on the old Sparky. So what I would like to just confirm. So these will be like, let's say, maximum 3 or 4 times during fishing season where I'll be charging it to 100%, because we normally keep it about 50 because we only go down to shops or something.
Totally fine to go to 100% as often as you like. The main principle is there's 2 things that kill batteries,
so you've got to
temperature
use it
and
straight away.
charge. Yeah, better to use it soonish, promptly. Don't let that fester overnight. Although having said that, look, I've left my cars fester overnight through necessity because I just want it fully charged, and it might be fully charged for 3 hours before I wake up. That was in the old days when I used to have I'd like take a long time to go around Australia.
I think in my case, I'll be going to the Carron supercharger because I might be using the car the day before, and to get it up to 100% on 10 amps is not, and leaving at 4 o'clock in the morning, it just won't be enough time.
No,
so I'll nip around there, and it's 34 cents or whatever it is around there at that time of day. So that's all good.
There's nothing wrong with charging it to 100% as regularly as you need to do it.
Me. So I think I have my low power mode set at 20%, which is, I think, the standard.
Yep.
So is there, I know with my, when I was building and flying my own drones, I know running batteries down to 0 was a problem. So what's the story with my NMC battery? Does it like going that low?
It prefers. I forget the gentleman's name. No, if you want to incessantly do the absolute best practice to have the technically least degradation possible, humanly possible, you'd go from 40 to 60, 40, 60, 40, 60, 40, 60, continually sipping 40, 60. When you do the bigger excursions, it is not as friendly to the battery as 40, 60. Sure. But again, these things are not oil paintings. They're not appreciating assets. They are tools to get you from A to B. So you should not have any qualms about setting it up to 100 and arriving at your destination with 5%. In fact, if you do in WA, it's hard to do a long, let's call it a long supercharger trip because there just aren't enough superchargers to do one. But if you just say you're in Brisbane and you navigate to Melbourne, what it will do is it'll tell you each different supercharger stop at and how long it'll roughly take. And while it's charging, and you can find this at, say, the Woolshed or Kojonup, when the car tells you that it has sufficient energy to continue on your journey, if you stop charging right then, the planned state of charge at arrival is 10%, which many more recent Tesla owners would be in conniptions if the battery got less than 30%. But the car will deliberately plan to have a buffer of 10%. Okay. So there's nothing wrong with you've bought the battery pack, there's nothing wrong with using the whole lot. But technically, if you want to ask about technicalities, it is kinder to the battery to do the so-called ideal of 60-40. And that's what Jeffrey Dahn they've done many tests.
Seen all that. I just wondered how much, because if I went to 0 in my LiPolys, but they were lithium polymer, not lithium ion, so a bit different chemistry, I'd destroy the battery essentially if I did that a couple of times.
But you probably did that at several C, and
sure, exactly.
And they're a lot hotter and all that sort of stuff. And so look, I've taken
different chemistry, different use case.
Yeah. I mean, look, I've driven my previous Model Y 194,000 Ks, and half of those Ks have been. It's done 7 laps around Australia, twice towing a caravan. So more than half of those Ks were between 100% and as close to 0 as possible. And that's very cruel use on a incessant basis, like for 100,000 Ks. But you're only going to do it for
a couple of times
10,000 Ks ever.
Yeah.
So it's fine. It's
You know,
you-
it was a good report the guy did. You know, it was nothing special, just a guy. You know, just a small user, and you find these, you get some of these good reports.
600 Ks in that 600 out of 750 on the highway is practical driving is awesome. I mean, that's
Yeah, there was some highway. There was a mixture. You know, some highway, some around. He just used it for a week. He said effectively.
Yep.
Without and charge it to 100%. They just used it for as long as he had to drive around in circles at the end because he wanted to be a member of the 0% club.
so sorry. So you mean he didn't use all that range in one day?
No,
Did he have Sentry mode on?
I've no idea. He didn't say.
Because the best way to do the proper test would be
One
do
go.
a Beyond Nyland and just start full and just keep driving, varying conditions until it's close to empty. Because every time you leave it overnight or
Yeah.
whatever,
Hopefully, he seemed a smart guy because anybody who's been around for more knows that you don't need if you've got a lockable garage. Sorry, you know, you don't have your Sentry on at night, right?
yeah, you say exclude home.
If you're in
That's
a
right.
unit or something, it's a different story.
Yep.
But yeah, so that was it was just interesting looking at that because I'm still, you guys are rotten, you know. You keep talking about all these new ones because mine's the old. Well, I shouldn't say the old. It's not that old. These 2022, and the self-driving intrigues me because I've not actually been in a vehicle yet because I haven't pestered you guys for a lift and I haven't gone to pester Tesla either. But I've got it's a false economy really. I've got 5,000 sitting in my enhanced autopilot, which would go against the new full FSD in a hardware 4, right? And that's sitting there, and so that's like a 5,000 price reduction for me at the moment till 31st of March. So I'm fishing around here going, well, what should I do? What should I do?
Yeah, you've got that problem because if you don't upgrade to FSD, you'll probably be doomed to always have enhanced autopilot.
Yes. And that,
I don't know. Sorry, is there a?
go on.
I don't know if is there a cheaper rental option, subscription option?
Yes. Well, sorry.
If you have enhanced autopilot and you want to
I haven't looked in
subscribe,
the last few days. There's somebody was saying they may have changed the things, but it was 75 instead of 150.
right?
It
Okay,
still is. It still is.
yeah.
Yeah, right. Thanks,
Okay.
Michelle.
But again, you see, Mike, the problem is I think you've alluded to the real problem, which is we're all human beings, and none of any of this makes sense. It makes sense for us to be driving Teslas because they're the world's safest car, blah blah blah, whatever. That makes sense. It makes a whole lot less sense to upgrade from one Tesla to another necessarily. It's not about needing to, it's wanting, and it's the newer, shinier toy and all that sort of stuff. It's what makes humans go from Africa to all across the whole world just because there's something else across the horizon. Make no doubt, you will be far more comfortable with a decision of purchasing FSD and then just enjoying it thereafter for no additional cost than shelling out $75 or $150 a month when you go, yeah, I only, because you're thinking that's 5 or 6 Netflix subscriptions and you've already cancelled your Disney Plus subscription because that's crap, and you've already cancelled your standard subscription because that wasn't worth the money, and now you're paying one of your largest bills a month on just FSD every month forever.
Yeah. And I hate it. Subscription, anything with a passion. So to give you an example, we currently don't have any TV subscriptions, and when we do, you know, we notice there's a particular series that's actually finished as opposed to just started, and we'll buy it for a month. So we'll spend $10 or $15, and then we'll turn
binge
it off.
it. Yep.
Right. So you know, this.
So if
150 a month just grates badly.
So if you can get a long range Model 3 guaranteed delivery by the 31st of March, transfer your enhanced autopilot from your old car to it, and then upgrade it for $5,000 to FSD, then that's a great choice.
Yes.
if you can afford it. And if
Well, look-
Tesla has got an inventory Model 3, because
Yeah.
you cannot trust, unless they know a ship is coming, with
Yes.
your car they can allocate to you, and there's no Fremantle port strikes or
whatever. else,
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. You only live once. And yeah, mentally you'll feel a lot better about having already written off that sunk cost
Yes.
than
I keep looking at the inventory, but in recent years, I went through my phase where we had black cars and all these colours that sort of show dirt and are potentially hotter inside and all that stuff. And I don't generally like silver or grey cars, so you're left with sort of red, blue, or white, effectively. And my wife likes a red car. She says they go faster, and it managed to get her off a speeding fine one day when she said that to the policeman, which I just find amazing. This is what blondes can get away with. Anyway, another story. So I've been looking at that, but they haven't got any white ones in. They haven't had for ages, the long range ones, right? Especially the newer one that has the stalk on it, which I've got to get the one with the stalk on it. I can't do it
okay,
with the buttons.
think out of the box.
Yes.
On a speculation, just set your state as New South Wales or Victoria.
Oh, okay.
It could be difficult though because of licensing, because it's got to be licensed in that state. Tesla's not going to transfer it.
Yeah.
But just as a thought experiment, if that's something that meant you're going to save $5,000 or whatever, or make something happen, do think out of the box.
Yeah, I think
You
they
never
are
know.
getting some over because there's a couple of colours, I'm not going to mention them, but on there, and I've just looked at them, and they say inventory, but then when you look at the date, it says coming soon.
Because it's on the ship. So it's an
Well, it's not
unallocated.
inventory then, is it? Right?
Well,
Another misleading thing.
It's
It's not inventory. Inventory means inventory, not on a ship.
not if you look at Tesla's quarterly earnings reports, and inventory is just not sold.
Well,
I mean, they do tell you where it is. I mean, they will
Yeah,
tell you
no,
how
I get
long.
that.
Yeah.
so I've been
Yeah.
trying to find one that's here and is a long range and is the new 2026 model, shall we call it? And they come and go very quickly for obvious reasons, I guess. So it's just interesting. You guys in I must try this self-driving though. I'll have to go and get a test drive, and because we only
Yeah,
go
just
around the shops, and I go to Albany or Yallingup like 3 times a year, so it's not that big a deal. But you
I-
guys keep going on about it. It's a big deal around town, so I'm going, oh, okay.
I
So
didn't
I'll
think
give it a
I would
test
use it living out here, driving long distances, because I thought, oh, I'll just be better off hanging onto the wheel, staying away. And so I only subscribed. I thought, oh, I'm only going to do it for a month and see what it's like.
Yeah.
I don't reckon I could live without it.
Oh yeah, I'm
I
sure.
So good.
love it. Driving long distances, you've got to eat your lunch. How you going to eat your lunch when you're trying to drive?
Yeah.
And Michelle, it's I mean, we're all getting older.
Yeah.
We could be having a heart attack, and as long as we can just hold our head up, look forwards,
Yeah.
everything's hands off everything.
Yeah.
Maybe just like slightly gripping the steering wheel to put a bit of weight every now and then when it says grab onto it, and
Yeah.
it will get you to places safely
Absolutely.
in general where
My-
you could be.
My big thing driving from Kew, because I always leave here after school, so I'm leaving at 2:30, 2:45. Driving to Perth, when I come into Perth, I come into all the lights and it does my head in. Like it's so bright. You've been driving in the pitch black for so long, right? So I pull over the side of the road on Tonkin Highway, put it in full self-drive there, if it's not already, and then just say, take me to Rockingham.
Yep.
And it
And it
takes
just
me
does it.
all the way down there. There's no dramas. I don't have to worry about changing lanes and cars and lights and things flashing everywhere. It is life-changing.
No, I get it for country trips. Definitely is a good, fatigue's a major killer. There's no two ways about it. Right?
My saviour is the city because I'm just not used to driving in the city.
Yes, but I'm a perfectionist, you see. So, I hear Harold and Pete and the tribe going, well, it does these funny things. I'm going, that would really cheese me off. because I'm paying, for me, serious money for something. I know it will get better. I know, I've heard you guys. I'm here regularly. You know the story. So, but it would just annoy the heck out of me, and I could do without that. So that's the other thing that's holding me back at this point.
Yeah.
Because even, I mean, I know the autopilot, the enhanced autopilot is a bit dodgy, but I go down the freeway from here to South Perth to Murdoch, and I put it on auto lane change, but I've stopped doing the, I've stopped doing the auto lane change because it's too dithery, and I know it's crap because it's the old autopilot and all the rest of it. But I do like the, because you just have to press the indicator, so I can choose to change lane. Because you know what it's like. As soon as it sees anything that's within Cooey, it just won't change lane. And before you know it, you're doing 85 down the freeway because there's some idiot in front of you and it won't change lane. So that's that's the sort of thing that really cheeses me off. And
like I said, it's a world record. We haven't had the FSD. The proper FSD that those of us who have it are experiencing is exactly the same as Pete and I got 6 months ago. Has not changed an iota. But clearly every day it doesn't change is one day closer to it changing, and probably being version 14, which even still I know in the States it does crazy things. I hear the Dirty Tesla guy do this feigned outrage of, oh, you've messed up this video, you bad car, because you turned right instead of left, and oh, you've taken me on the highway now, and now my 360 camera that I've suction cupped to the roof its battery's going to go flat, and it's ruined my video, and rah rah rah. But it is incrementally getting better and better, and take it for a spin, Mike.
So that I'll see what it's like, because I'll do do you know, do you get it like for an hour or 2 hours or something? What's the test?
I think it's half an hour.
Half an hour, okay.
Yeah. Pete's nodding. It's half an hour. So, and the good thing is, I think these days you get it without a chaperone. I don't think they bother chaperoning anymore.
Right.
So you can pick your destination. I think they've got one where they suggest an outbound and a return or something, but you can just do whatever you want, unfettered.
So are you guys finding the auto park works okay in the FSD you've got?
Love it.
I don't really use it, to be honest.
I
I have once or twice, but not. I don't use it.
I use it all the time.
Oh, cool.
So
Very good, Michelle.
Is it working really well?
Yeah, really well in shopping
Okay.
centres and things like that. It's lovely.
This is on the full FSD, yeah?
Yep.
The current one, yeah. Cool.
Oh, I
Okay.
think it does it with an enhanced autopilot too, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It works without. So my 2022's got some features like that, and Summon, for example, dumb Summon, admittedly,
Yeah.
which I actually use regularly, and they work really well.
Yeah.
So I know Summon isn't that on certainly a 3. I don't think Summon works on the new Model 3s, even under FSD.
There's no summon. There's no actually smart summon or anything yet. No,
Even dumb
unfortunately
Summon
not.
will be fine because that's what I use it for.
Yeah, no. Actually, sorry. Apologies,
Anyway, I'm
Leanne.
finished, yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, apologies to Leanne. I asked a question. If there's any way to do annual subscriptions for premium connectivity rather than monthly, and sadly the answer is no. However, once you set it up,
It's
pretty sure
automatic.
it auto renews.
Automatic,
So
yeah.
it'll just go on your credit card that you've attached to your Tesla account. So it'll just be a monthly thing.
Yeah,
It'd be
but
nice if Tesla offered something like a yearly subscription with perhaps a 10% discount.
yeah,
Like,
that's what they do in the US. So that's what I was
Yes.
wondering. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I've had it for 12 months. Like I have it on auto subscribing, but
Yeah. It and that's the thing too, is there are quite a few things that they have in the US that is different to here for
yeah.
various reasons. But yeah, it's just at the moment they don't offer that. But perhaps, but that's not to say they never will. There's just sometimes there's that sort of inconsistency.
Yeah, and just for Mike's, I live in Sydney, so it's tomorrow in Sydney at the moment, and I use FSD I've had it, always had it, and since the day I could get it, and it's great. I rarely drive. The only
Yeah.
thing it doesn't I live in a battle axe, and it doesn't recognise my carport. That's the only annoying part of it.
Yes.
I've pinned it and I've done everything, but it won't go up my driveway.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've said this many times. The two happiest, no, there's two significant milestones in most people's lives if you are fortunate to live long enough, and that is the very happy time of when you first get your driver's license, and the really devastating time when you have to give up your driver's license if you live long enough, and you know you've got to give it up, and it's a really sad thing because you lose a lot of independence. What is coming around in the next few years is, once full self-driving unsupervised is legalized in Australia, then you won't care if you have a license or not, and you'll have independence forever. And you know that applies to no matter what anyone's age is today, because if we're all fortunate enough, we're all going to be very elderly eventually. So it's just great. And you know, the biggest first world problem I have with FSD is that it only really works properly if you give it a destination. Because again, if you just go down a straight piece of road, it will randomly turn a left-hand corner every now and then, but not always consistently. So you do really, the one thing you do have to do, which is a pain, sort of, is give it a destination. So if you go on a Sunday drive, sometimes people just go for a drive and just follow their nose. Well, on FSD, it's a bit harder because you've got to give it sort of a destination. But apart from that, it's just fantastic.
Yeah,
and
but
again,
I always just go navigate to wherever.
place. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
I mean,
true.
I just-
Yeah, that's
I just
right.
use the voice thing, so I
Yes.
don't. I never type it in.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can
and
do
it's-
that while I'm driving, so I don't.
Yes.
So if I, not that I overdrive now, it's always on FSD, but if I actually get out of my driveway and I've forgotten to do it, then I'll do it while I'm driving, just go navigate to XYZ,
Yes.
and then press the FSD.
Yeah. And it's such it's life changing. I mean, we've all gotten used to it so quickly.
Yeah. And I think the interesting part is I think the older generation got used to it quicker than the younger. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because
Well-
I use it now. I'm retired, and so obviously older than most.
Many.
And so,
Yep.
but my kids won't use it, and they
Yeah.
get in the car and freak out and carry on like bloody pork chops, and you know, just amazes me.
Well, my two kids in Teslas, one uses FSD all the time, and the other one isn't even interested in autopilot. So one is totally old school, and the other one is give me all the technology, and I'll press every button to make it work. So yeah, it's just different styles. And I don't know. I'm sure, Leanne, you've got a similar experience in Sydney. If you go on a freeway, the number of Teslas that are clearly manually driving, because you can actually see both hands on the steering wheel, and also their car is not perfectly positioned in the center of the lane. So you already know straight away that those cars are being manually driven, and their speed varies and all that sort of stuff. It's just shocking, because at the moment, autopilot at the very least comes free with every car that's being sold, and yet I reckon at least a third of cars I've seen, probably more, are manually driving. But
Yeah.
just
Mine-
different styles.
Mine's improved a lot in the speed thing on the freeways. It used to be shocking, and you know, like you said in previous weeks, always going really slow. But
Yeah.
now it pretty much keeps up with it all the time.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
It does. Geez, it varies. Yeah, it does vary. But look, we're only one or two software updates, possibly one update away from it being super good. Really super good. And yeah, can't wait.
Harold, can I just ask if I got FSD, like paid for it, so that
Yep.
I'm not subscribed, do I lose enhanced autopilot?
No,
No.
no, Well, no,
You'd never use it.
no, you never use it. It
You
So-
do. Technically, you do, but enhanced autopilot is part of FSD.
Yeah.
So FSD is enhanced autopilot plus more features, if that
Yeah.
makes
Oh, so you mean to say, at the moment, because you're subscribing to it,
I
if
still
you go
have,
into
I
the
think-
settings, you can
I
go
think
to
so.
enhanced autopilot.
Do lose it. It's not in the settings.
Right.
Isn't it? It's not called that. It's called something
Autopilot.
beta auto steer or something.
Auto-
Yes.
Beta.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
that went when full self-driving kicked in. That option went.
Okay.
But it's not a loss, Michelle, because enhanced
don't
autopilot.
I know, but I do use it sometimes on the
Oh.
long drives.
No,
It's
sorry,
not-
but you will be able to maintain or defer down to autopilot.
Right.
So, mate of mine, Jason, he lives in Denmark.
Yeah.
He militantly does not use FSD until he gets to the intersection at Armadale on Albany Highway.
Yeah.
So when he gets there, if the lights are red, he then puts the car in park, changes the autopilot settings to FSD, and then re-engages it.
And I quite often do that on the main road. I'll use
Yep.
the autopilot
Yep.
on the highway.
Yep.
One of the reasons is because the car often sits too close to the centre of the road with the road trains coming. I don't like it. I don't feel comfortable. And it's probably just a personal thing.
Yep.
So I tend to use autopilot
Yep.
a bit.
So you will still be able to use autopilot if you do buy it, but then, Michelle, it depends on how long you're going to keep that car for, because as a second-hand car, FSD in general, it doesn't recognise you don't get that value of the $10,000 for FSD. Although in your case, yeah, so you don't really get the value as a second-hand vehicle. So if you think you're going to upgrade, say in a couple of years' time, it'll be questionable as to whether you're going to get your $5,000 extra back for the remainder of the time you're going to keep that car.
I
Because-
know, and you know what? It's 5 years or 5.5 years of subscriptions is my $5,000 it would take to
Yes.
five.
But-
I think it's 66 months or something
Yeah.
at $75 a month for
Yep.
the $5,000.
Yep. So if you're going to keep your car for at least 5 more years, you're
Yeah.
breaking even.
Yeah.
And if it's even longer, then you're in front if you buy it. But if something happens to your car, like it gets written off, not your fault, but whatever, then you lose it. If you've bought it, because you can't transfer it to a replacement vehicle.
Right.
And that's something that Tesla is unclear about. Officially, there will be no further transferences from, say, your current vehicle to a new one if you've purchased FSD.
Right.
But Tesla has said that in the past and has changed their mind
Yeah.
for whatever strategic reasons. And some of it could be to promote new car sales. So, you've got an old car, you've got you've got FSD you've purchased. We'll give you an incentive to get out of the old car into a new one by letting you transfer it. And
Yeah.
that's plausible, but not guaranteed that will happen again in the future. But we
Yeah.
just don't know.
I wonder how it would affect insurance though, like eventually.
At the moment, insurance companies aren't really in
No, but
Australia.
I'm sure eventually they will.
Yes.
And would it make a difference whether it was paid up FSD or whether
No.
it was subscription?
No, as long as you're using the car, if it's a subscription,
Yeah.
bearing in mind whether it's paid for or subscribed, there's no guarantee
that you're using it?
that you're using it at the moment of the risk of the accident.
Yeah.
But insurance companies in Australia have not yet. There's no indication that they are adapting their product
Mm.
to recognise that. In America, there is a company called, forget what it's called now, some weird company. that gives a say again. Lemonade. Yeah, I thought it was weird.
Yes.
I was going to say it's some weird food product. Lemonade that will give, I think, a 50% discount to insurance if you use FSD,
Wow.
or if you have FSD and you are using it, because they've got preliminary actuarial results that show that it's worth it. It reduces the risk, and they'll give you a 50% discount
That 50% applies to the percentage of which
of FSD.
FSD. So, yeah, if you're using FSD 84% of the time, you get a 50% discount on 84% of your premium.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, and in many of our cases, I mean, in Leanne, I'm sure you're at 100%, as close to 100% as practicable, except for the lonely 20 meters of your battle axe driveway where you got to do that manually. And Pete, I'm sure you're similar, and I'm the same, and Michelle, no doubt. Except for the autopilot section at the moment, because we've got the only single version of FSD so far. But as soon as all the speed issues and all that stuff and going on the wrong side of the road temporarily, and red traffic lights and a few other minor things, most of us will be on as close to 100% as we can, because why would you bother doing anything else? It's just so relaxing.
Well, for all the Ks that I've done with mine with full self-drive, I think I've had once it went to turn into a street in queue and went to the wrong side of the road, but
Yep.
that's totally understandable. There's no lines marked and the roads are really wide. And once it wanted to take out a couple of motorbikes that it didn't see.
Oh, what's a motorbike here and there
That's
between
right.
friends,
Yeah, that's right. But
Is it-
I don't have a problem with it. It's been really good. Yeah.
There was somewhere, I'm not sure if it's in the car or in the app, that you can see the percentage you drive on FSD.
Only in the US at this stage.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it is just the
too many
US.
US stuff. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but that will come. That will definitely come. That you'll have that metric probably with version 14, which I think is going to be the next version we're going to get. Alrighty, well, we're past. Actually, yeah, it's awesome that you've joined us, Leanne, from the future. You're 3 hours into the future. And
That's my
yeah,
best.
that's great to for you to have joined us. But yeah, we're sort of past our notional closing time. Actually, we've gone past about 20 minutes. Is there any last minute? Oh yeah, Carmen. Yeah, go.
Quick question.
Yes.
Now, are there any statistics on fires caused by batteries in WA?
Batteries or EVs?
Batteries.
Oh yeah. Oh, the fire FISA would definitely know, because one of their biggest issues are things like scooters and e-bikes, mainly scooters, because they get damaged battery packs. A lot of them are poorly built Chinese versions that are manhandled, and there are lithium-ion battery packs cause house fires, I think, on a weekly basis in WA. And it's a real.
What about installed batteries, and do they affect the fires we have down south?
Installed, you mean like for battery storage for a house? I don't know that there's been. Well, I don't know that there's been any. I know there were initially going to be some very restrictive installation procedures whereby lithium-ion batteries had to be installed in a fireproof box, even though they're on the outside of the house and things like that. That's been moderated, and there are certain rules where a battery storage system has to be on a wall that is not adjacent to a livable area. But what they call livable area is really strange. It's not what a whole house is kind of livable, but it means whether it's a bedroom and one or two other different kind of locations. But the short answer is they're not really an issue. Certainly the stationary storage, not an issue. Mobile things like battery tools that are left on their chargers for too long, like well over the time when they're actually full, are a big threat compared to the background rate of fires in a house caused by candles and, radiant heaters and stuff like that. It's an up and coming severe threat that is getting worse and worse as people get more and more batteries and those lithium ion bricks, those storage bricks. Again, a lot of those are cheap. You get them from Alibaba for not much. You can drop them, damage them, and they can just go incandescent
So
spontaneously.
there's no laws around it?
No, there are installation. Yes, so if you've got battery storage for a house, so you buy a Powerwall or a whatever else other system, there are distinct installation rules that the installers have to abide by to reduce the risk of a fire killing the inhabitants of the house. So it doesn't necessarily stop the fire in the first place, but it means the chances of it killing someone in a house is a lot less.
Okay.
But they're all very much regulated. So if you buy anything that's installed, it will abide by the rules because it has to. But yeah, but the big things are things like power tools, where people often in a shed, I've got it myself, multiple batteries, and I used to just leave one of the batteries on the charger. And I think for some of the more quality products, the charger does stop charging, but others will just kind of keep trickle charging forever, and that's when you get problems.
Okay. Well, great. Thank you.
No worries. Cool. All right. Any last ones before we wrap this awesome show up?
Just a quickie. So my Tokwa, what do we call it? Fee? What do we call it? Subscription? Oh no, a subscription. Will the secretary or the treasurer send me a note saying it's due, or do I?
Yes. No. You get an automatic email.
Cool. Enough.
I think it's about a month or so before it's due, just to say, hey, it's your subscription is due, and we implore you to renew and blah blah whatever. And all you do is you just log on to the site. If you don't remember your password or your browser hasn't saved it, you just go reset password. It'll just do a reset, send you an email. You just log on, and you just then click on subscription and then renew. Also highlight subscription. You'll then get two things, which is either join or renew. I think when you click renew, it actually says you've got to log in. So you just log in, and then you can just renew via, we use Stripe, I think it is, and it just takes or PayPal, whichever one it is. But you don't need a PayPal account. You just use your credit card or debit card via PayPal.
Apple Pay is good.
Yeah, and that works. Yeah.
Yeah.
If it's through a device. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So yeah, it's all easy.
Thanks, guys. Just in case I had to rat out all my old emails because it must be coming up for me soon.
Yeah. Yeah, probably. Maybe. Yeah. If it was roughly 12 months ago, it'll be at the 11th month that you'll get an email reminder.
Yeah, because I've been pestering you guys for about that long. So thanks again.
Absolute pleasure. All right. So, Pete, how would you round out an awesome show like this as if I didn't already know?
As always, stay safe, stay sustainable, and stay ahead of the curve.
And the best way to do that is buy a Tesla, join Tokwa, and ask us anything about accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy and abundance. Have a wonderful week, everyone, and I really do look forward to seeing you on next week's episode of Tokwa's Ask Us Anything. Good night, everyone.
Good night. Thank you.